Hello and welcome to my channel, Crafting with Indiana Jones. Today I am bringing you some romantic thrift flips just in time for Valentine's Day. So let's get started. I'm so happy to be a part of this playlist with these three lovely ladies who are hosting the Thrift Flip Road Trip Challenge. This is Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs and Trish and Kay, the Crafting Cousins. I hope you check out the rest of the wonderful thrift flip ideas in this playlist. I'm going to start my first project with a frame I found on the side of the road and these wonderful canvases I got at Dollar Tree, but I didn't buy them for $5. I actually got it for $1.25. So you can still find these in the regular dollar stores for $1.25, of course. I'm using these wonderful IOD transfers that were given to me by Teresa of Our Green Acres, and I just thought it would be a wonderful way to freshen up some of my home decor. So here all I did was paint on some of my just regular paint that I had around the house, this goldeny color, which I thought was perfect. And I am under the supervision of Luna. She is making sure I am doing a good job with my transfer. She's watching. So, it's like, what, you missed a spot. She's looking at me. She's like, look, you missed a spot right here. She's pointing it out, and she's just the greatest. She is really great supervisor, although she loses attention very quickly. But here is the grand reveal. I always love this, when you do this. Oh, da-da! Look how pretty. It looks so pretty, but still, we need some more. So what I'm going to do is make this look like one of those vintagey kind of things, those vintagey paintings that you see out there. So all I'm doing is using the stencils that I have. As you can see, I don't clean my stencils very well after I use them. It just adds character to them. That's how I see it. And I'm using this antique gold. It's a deep gold. And of course, just using a stencil brush, stenciling away, stencil, stencil, stencil. I'm surprised neither one of the cats came to watch me stencil. I was very surprised. Maybe I don't like the smell of paint. I like it. There, look at that right there. One of the things I did was I did mesh that gold with a little bit of brown, like old antique brown, just to make sure that it stood out. And I don't know, it just gave it a little bit of depth. Depth? I can't say depth right. I always like spit when I say depth. Suffering Succotash. Remember that cat? Sylvester? Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway, look at this cute little crowny thing, whatever design. I just had to add it. And of course here I am again adding a little bit of brown to it just to add some depth. And there you have it. Look at that. Oh, I like it already. But to add some more depth, that's the word of the day, people, depth. And I'm just adding, I don't know, squeegeeing and just making it like aged. And I love doing these kind of things. That's why I like Shabby Chic and dark academia. I love the fact that it looks a little vintagey. Speaking of vintage, I'm part of a vintage Valentine's playlist that's coming out next week, so make sure you keep your eyes open for that. And there you have it. Look how beautiful. Now we're not done here, because I am adding a little bit of wax and a little bit of brown paint. I have some dried up brown paint, which I didn't throw away because I use it for things like this. And look at that. Talk about depth. Look at how beautiful that looks. And you go over the stencil, of course, and of course the transfer, just to make sure that you seal it in and protect it. Now, when I found this frame on the side of the road, it was originally silver. And of course, I, whitewashed it, whatever you want to call it. I covered it up because it was, it was missing some of the paint. Now, I'm doing the same thing as I did with the painting itself, where I'm using this dried out old, paint that I have, mixing it with the wax and making it like an antique wax. If you have the antique wax, you can skip this step, obviously, but I'm cheap. I get the clear plain wax and then I add to it as I need. One of the things I want to do is I want to do antiquing, but like a blue shade, maybe for something mermaid-like. I don't know. So I'm just using my stencil brush, like I did before, and just brushing it in. And yes, the stencil brush had a little bit of gold still left over. That's okay. That's okay. It's just got a little bit of, I'm just, using all the different colors. And there comes Luna again, my supervisor. She is truly my supervisor. She sits there. So look at that. She just calmly watches me, makes sure that I got every nook and cranny. And it's just the sweetest thing. I get to spend quality time with my kittens they're getting big. They're 6 months already, but I just love doing that. And of course, I just illuminate a little bit of the extra. And not to be left behind, little guru came to make sure that I placed the painting properly in its frame. And I couldn't even show you the full painting without like putting it over her little head. And I just love this. I think it came out so, so pretty. Now, this next one is a wine carrier that I got at the thrift store for only $5. I'm using that awesome stuff to clean. And there you have my little supervisor again, little Luna. I'm trying to protect her from the spray because she is just so curious. She has to sit there and watch me as I clean. I love how she watches my every swipe or wipe of this, container. And as you can see, it has a very Tuscan paint. It was a little bit cracked and stuff. It wasn't crackle, it was just cracked. And that's why I decided to renovate this. Not only that, but I really don't like these dark colors, obviously. So here I am taking off all the hardware. It's tedious and not a lot of people like actually take the time to take off the hardware, but I like the brass and I wanted to keep it that way, the antique brass. So there I am putting everything in a container and I was scared that, Luna was gonna try to eat one of them or something. But eventually she left, so here I am trying to figure out which design I'm going to use. I have these beautiful decoupage papers that were given to me by Unique Vintage and Antiques, and I decided to hold off on that for another project. I thought something more nautical. So I went back to my stash, checking out my transfers and my paint inlays. Now, I loved this toile. I think it said toile. And I decided to use that. But I also love this beautiful paint inlay. But I decided to hold off on that to use it for the spring. Now, let's talk about the difference between transfers and paint inlays. Because your girl here completely forgot about it. And I'll tell you in just a minute. So I'm using this beautiful creamy, buttery yellow, I don't know, goldeny color. That again, these are those oopsies paints that I get at Home Depot for just 50 cents. And look at all the paint I get. And the paint is wonderful because it's Bear's. So it usually covers within just, just a first stroke. I don't need to paint it twice or anything, even on colors that dark. Now, look at what I'm doing. What are you screaming to yourself? Tell me what you're all screaming to yourself, because I screamed it to myself after I placed it on there. And then I realized, okay, wait a minute. Oh, there you go. This is a transfer, not a paint inlay. Yeah, so I kind of destroyed that transfer page. Can you believe it? Now I had to reapply some more paint because I pulled it off with the transfer. But not to worry, because Kudu is there to make sure I do it right. And yeah, she was getting into everything. So she was making sure that she was brushing up with her beautiful black fur against all that creamy white paint that was still pretty wet. And yeah, we had fun with that. And after a while, she wouldn't give up. So while I was cutting out the transfer, I noticed that little Kudu got paint all over her little schnozzy and her little face. So here I am cleaning her up. This is, crafting with cats, people. This is what it takes. I think I might have to change my channel to crafting with Indiana Jones and her cats. Yeah, I think so, because they are the co-stars. So there you are. I'm using these beautiful transfers. I'm going to transfer it properly now with a squeegee. With the squeegee. And of course, Kudu is again just supervising me, making sure that I'm using the squeegee properly for this project and not treating it like as a paint inlay as I did before. That was just too funny. But I tried to use that page and I just couldn't salvage it. But I hope you're enjoying how I enjoy to craft with my cats, because like I said, I am crafting usually every night after 9-10 p.m. when I get home from work and I've done other things around the house, and then I sit down for an hour or two and try to get my crafting in. So here Luna is back again just to supervise and make sure I'm putting all the hardware on correctly. This item I had bought last year, and I don't know why I never used it. I was waiting for the right time, or I don't know. I just thought this was a perfect color, the perfect toile design. And again, here I'm using the wax with a little bit of that, deep brown paint to add what? Depth. That's right, depth to my project. And I did do the sides as well as the brass, but I was so happy with how this turned out, and you'll see in the final reveal. Now here's a great way to use those used up candles from Christmas. Don't throw them away, and especially if you have just a little bit at the bottom. I used all the candles that I had left over, got a new wick, and I got a thrifted teacup that I had for 99 cents, the teacup and the saucer, and I'm making a tea light. Well, that's not exactly a tea light, but it's a warm, romantic candle that I'll have for Valentine's Day. Now, I had Luna show up, and I was terrified of her getting involved with the hot wax, and in my attempt to try to stop her, she jumped on the camera, dumped it on the floor, and I did not realize that it had a little bit of damage and did not record some of the next segment. I'll talk to you about it in just a moment. Among my Christmas leftovers, I had some of these cylinder boxes. I had one in particular, I think the larger one, that was from the Dollar Tree. I got it for $1.25 and had it left over from a gift that I had for Christmas. So I decided this would be perfect to add to my vignette. What I did was I painted it with the paint, and it was fine. And there is Guru checking out the camera because I had to adjust it back to where it was, but I had missed filming when I painted this part, and not only painted it, but I had already put the transfer. So you saw how that works. I put the transfer on, and as you can see now, I'm doing the swirly effect with the wax once again, with the antiqued wax, and it just makes such a difference. Look at that, from that matte paint, because it is a matte paint, now just adds such a life and depth. Once again, depth, yes. And I just love the way this little box turned out, especially in the final reveal of my vignette. I thought it was a perfect addition. Now I'm adding this lace. It was a metal, not lace, metal trim that I had bought at the Dollar Tree, I believe last year, but I still think they have them left. And if you can find it, please don't buy one, buy five. You know how I am. It's better to have a hoard than not to have it, because I think this is such a useful trim. Now, I hadn't used it until now because I didn't know where I had it, which is a reason why you have to continuously organize and reorganize your craft space. But now I found it, so I was going to utilize it to make, to give this little box a little more panache. And as you can see, it's coming out really nice, and I really like the way it all turned out. And this is a great place to also store some pins. I have so many pieces of jewelry, and it's cumbersome, but it is such a great way to store barrettes and pins and hair pieces, anything that you need. Hair pieces, well, yeah, hair pins, but if you have hair pieces, sure, why not? Yeah, some people might have hair pieces. Well, I am now taking advantage of some of the items that I got in the 90% clearance, Christmas clearance. Believe it or not, this was part of the Christmas clearance. So a set of these ceramic hearts came out to 19 cents. So you better believe that you're going to see several of these used in the coming weeks, of course. Here I am using that paint once again, that creamy yellow paint. And I mean, look at how much I've used and still have so much of it. So when I have a lot of big projects, I love to use this mist tinted paints from Home Depot. And once again, to add what? Depth. Yes, depth. I'm adding some of this darker mustardy yellow color just to give it a little more life. And one, I cross-hatched it or dry brushed it onto the whole heart, and the other one I'm just using on the ends. Now, for one of them, it didn't make any sense because I'm just going to decoupage. So I have this wonderful decoupage from Tim Holtz, and I thought this matched that painting that I had done earlier. I thought it was perfect. It was the same exact coloring of the transfer. It almost looked like a miniature of that transfer. So again, you know me, I like to do vignettes and, do like coordinated items. I don't know if you like it or not, but that's what I do. And I wanted to bring a little bit of, Valentine's Day into this. So here's my Valentine's Day, I guess, inclusion to this project. And again, I love decoupaging. Decoupaging is my favorite thing because it's pretty much foolproof. One of the things that I have learned is how different people use it. Sometimes they put the, Mod Podge onto the paper, let it dry, then they use an iron to heat it up. Now what I'm using is some wax paper and squeegeeing it, and that seems to eliminate a lot of the wrinkles. I wish I could squeegee my face. Mod Podge. Figure a way how I can get rid of wrinkles by using, no, you can't use Mod Podge on your face. People don't do that. But gosh, don't I wish, right? Anyway, I digress, but that's common. Here I am using one of those sandpaper blocks and readjusting the camera very, very delicately there. Using one of the sandpaper blocks to take off the excess decoupage paper, and it works like a dream. I didn't want to set it on fire. That's my favorite method, but I didn't want to set it on fire because, well, I just didn't think it was necessary. For this next little heart, I'm going to use, again, one of these IOD transfers. It wasn't part of the toile transfer. It was part of another transfer. And yeah, I thought it was just perfect. It fit in perfect with the heart. And I thought it coordinated well with the toile. So once again, if you haven't used a transfer, it's super easy. All you have to do is squeegee, 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 squeegee. That is called a squeegee, right? I mean, I have the roller squeegee. I should have used the roller squeegee too, but I like the squeegee like this. And this is also what I use for Cricut. And I hope you are excited that I'm starting to use my Cricut machines more. I got a larger Cricut. I have the Cricut Joy, and I'm using them for more projects. So my next projects will include some Cricut usage. Now I decided to make a tassel of my own. Here are some leftover, Michael's clearance. These are clearance Christmas ribbons from Michael's that I had gotten last year, and I think I got those in one of those Michael's boxes. We're all waiting for those grab boxes. I know. So all I'm doing is, lassoing them all together, all the ribbons together, and then I'm just going to cut them at the end like I did, as you can see there. And I created basically a tassel. I tied off a little bit of the top, and that's it. That's all I had to do. And now I'm just going to glue it to the bottom of that heart. And I think it came out really sweet. The other one I left plain. I decided just to make one very frilly and cutesy woosy. And the other one, I kept it a little more somber. But I think they're both lovely. And again, for Valentine's Day, it doesn't always have to be hot pink and red. It could be, subdued if you like more subdued tones for your Valentine's Day. I don't particularly enjoy Valentine's Day that much, but I do love the idea of romance and adding a bit of romance to your life through your decor, if nothing else. I mean, at least your decorations and your home seems romantic. And as long as you enjoy your home, that's the most important thing. And there I am. I'm just tying off the little, top ribbon. And here is the final reveal of all of these projects. I hope you like them. Thank you once again to Sammy, Kay, and Trish for making this wonderful playlist and always challenging us to create something new from something old or something discarded. It's such a great way to upcycle everything in your home. Thank you once again for stopping by, and I hope I've inspired you to add a little bit of romance to your home and using recycled or upcycled items that you might just have around the house. As I always say, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure. And if you like my adventures, please come back for more. Subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you once again very soon.